RITC CyberSecurity, empowering businesses with robust cybersecurity protection.
Welcome to Ciphered Reality podcast from RITC CyberSecurity, small businesses partner in proactive cybersecurity. I'm Mike Rotundo here with my co-host Mari Cherry, where we unravel the mysteries of cybersecurity one bite at a time. From digital heists to hacker exploits, we uncover online threats and the strategies to stay ahead. Whether you're an IT pro, business owner, or just safeguarding your personal data, this is your guide to the cyber world. Today, we're going to go through some cybersecurity news and discuss device security, right?
Right.
All right. And why don't you, Mari, take us off to the news?
Okay. First one we have, hackers lurked in Treasury OCC systems since June 2023. Gained access to over 150,000 emails, according to anonymous sources.
Many questions arise from that. First of all, what are they doing with those 150,000 users and how many fake emails were sent?
Yeah.
More appropriately, how were they able to lurk in the Treasury systems for that long?
Yeah. How long was it?
I believe it was almost a year.
Since June, because this was something they just found, right?
Okay, so 2023 to June, so year and a half.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Oh, disclosed in February 2025.
They do say the average persistence is 180 days before discovery.
Okay.
But that's a lot longer than 180 days.
How did it go on for so long?
Don't click on things you're not supposed to click on. Don't fall for phishing.
Fly fishing.
Change your admin passwords.
All right. That's all I've got for that one. So we'll move on to the next. WhatsApp flaw can let attackers run malicious code on Windows PC. So not as secure as people thought it was, apparently.
Nope.
Did people think it was that secure, though?
A lot of people do because they, it claims to be encrypted and all this kind of stuff, and it's supposed to be the secure communication. But if you recall from that blog post we did on, I don't remember, it was like a month or two ago, about that alleged lady on LinkedIn that was trying to basically social engineer me. She kept trying to get me on WhatsApp, and it happens continuously. They always want to get you on WhatsApp. They always want to get you, and there's a reason for it.
What's the reason?
The reason is that they can send you things like this story that we're going to finish in a minute, but they can send you miscrafted MIME messages, and they can send payloads in there, assuming that you have a Windows device. So because of that, they'll be able to, and you're a security professional, and if they can get into yours, then they can get into somebody else's and maybe lurk in the Treasury for a year and a half. The other thing is, and we talked about this a couple podcasts ago, steganography, right? So they want to send images of these attractive people, and expecting you being a male, you're going to click on it and you're going to go, oh boy.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then I've got another real life. I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, yeah, I keep getting these things on WhatsApp, and I just decided to, mess with them. And they're always sending these pictures, and they're always really cute girls. I'm like, dude, do you realize what steganography is? And I went through the whole thing, and he's like, oh. Okay. And I'm like, I'd wipe your phone, dude. And I would stop playing that game.
So Windows PC specifically, because explain that.
Well, because they can run PowerShell commands and that sort of stuff on there. So then they understand that the directories are pretty standard. And that's what the goal is to get this PowerShell script out there. But yeah, it's a miscrafted MIME attachment that they're trying to get you to offload payload to execute arbitrary code. So
cheeky little buggers. All right.
Yes, they are.
All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
Everest ransomware's dark web leak site defaced. This one was
I love this one.
To me. Yeah, me too. I thought it was so funny. Is now offline. The unknown attacker replaced the website's content with the following sarcastic message: "Don't do crime. Crime is bad." XOXO from Prague.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
A dark website.
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing to me. I think this is probably going to be my favorite news story.
Yeah.
Forever. Don't do crime.
Don't do crime. Crime is bad. Love from Prague with love. Yeah. Oh. No, I love that. And, but hackers are intelligent people, and intelligent people most of them have senses of humor. So.
Well, That's definitely funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's literally the only reason I picked this one, because I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But how do you think that's really embarrassing though for the other guy? Because
100%. It's all ego. Yeah, 100%. And they do ransomware, spyware, and they do double extortion. So this is kind of like in your face, boys or girls or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely in your face. And
ruthless.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And because, they what they do is they go and they do ransomware and then threaten to release your data, sensitive data, if you don't pay.
Yeah.
They're not the people that wanted 125 baguettes or $125,000 in baguettes or whatever it was. But they're about that same level. So they probably ticked off the wrong people. And, some government agency probably tracked them down, or some, there's a place in Arizona called the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range that is often contracted out to the government for work for certain things. And there's like the side of it where they teach people, and then there was kind of the dark side run by a bunch of spooks that they do just like contract. There's a lot of companies out there like that, or things out there like that do that. But yeah, and it's and they'll get like a task from the government to do certain things for money. It's not like you're making your GL14 pay $95,000 a year or whatever it is, or GB14 or whatever the term is. No, it's a pretty hefty contract because they just need to augment their services. So remember, there may have been somebody like that was like, hey, we're going to go and we're going to do that. So
I didn't even know that existed, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Something new every day.
I'll tell you more about it sometime offline.
Cool. But they teach? What do they?
Yeah, they teach too.
What's that?
Yeah, it's just to teach people how to hack. So, and it's people that have skills to bone up their skills. I don't remember if there was a cost to it. When I met them, they were trying to get people to come. They were just up and running, and they were a bunch of NSA or CIA guys that had started it. And I don't know, I think it was NSA. But anyway, they wanted people to start coming down. The problem for me was from where I live, it's a 75-mile drive each way. And I'm not driving that far. So for that.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
So,
but really cool. You probably missed out on something really awesome.
I probably did. But, you had to pass certain tests to get to the next level, which would be where they were, at least what they were talking about, to get to like to being the, for hire kind of guys. So, yeah. Okay. But it was an interesting concept, very interesting story. He's the guy that actually he's like, hey, he's like, you got Facebook? I said, yeah, I've never used it. He goes, you know what? In this business, you just need LinkedIn, get rid of everything else. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, because they're just trying to mine. I'm like, yeah, I kind of always figured that. And he's like, yeah, just get rid of everything. So
just LinkedIn, huh? Why only LinkedIn?
Because if you don't have one, then they definitely think you're a spy.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm going to get rid of all my social media.
Yeah. I know you spend hours a day on there.
I do. Just hours.
It's your life.
Can't sleep from it.
Yeah, it was real hard for me. Delete Facebook account. I sent an email to people that I actually knew face to face and had actually met in person, and like, hey, I'm out. And this is why. And they're like, cool. But Facebook was like, have you ever tried to cancel a Facebook account?
No, I just ignore it.
I had to, I want to delete my account. Why? How does I do? Well, but why do you need to do it? Because I can.
Because I didn't want to.
Because this is America. If I don't want a Facebook account, I don't have a Facebook account.
Yeah.
So.
It's there forever. Yeah. It's forever.
Yeah.
All right.
We got on a change with that one, but that's okay. Interesting stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we talk about the next one?
All right. Okay. Malicious VS Code extensions infect Windows with crypto miners.
This is becoming a very common practice. So in Microsoft VS Marketplace, they were creating pieces of code that were actually infected with this the malicious VSS, and the crypto miners.
The
So
cryptograms.
yes, those two. Yeah, didn't we come up with our own certification at one of them previously too? This is similar to the GitHub hack that we talked about a while ago too, where it's all these things that are done, they're written up with help notes and all this kind of stuff, and that's what they're doing is they're selling it on the marketplace and it's for free downloads. And one of the things they do is they inflate the number of downloads so it looks like there's a common acceptance. So they'll go and they'll download it 300,000 times so people look like, oh, well, this is being used in regular usage. And in reality, it's the same guy downloading it 300 times. They're trying to get credibility by showing the volume.
Like fake reviews.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Happens on Yelp all the time. Yep.
What about the dark web? Yep. How about
Yeah. Well, we talked about that too.
Yeah, we did.
Although I don't know that you'd want to play around on dark web Yelp with some fake stuff because those people are not a muffin shop.
Right. So we've got podcast topic, device security.
Yes.
I'm going to start out with a couple questions.
What's a device?
Excuse me. I said I was going to start out with a couple questions. A phone, a laptop, an iPad, a tablet of any sort.
Yep.
What else you got?
That's good. Good enough. Server.
Cool. Desktop, I guess, too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You've been trained well.
Yeah. I'm a professional.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Question. How much professional or personal data, just think, lives on your phones, laptops, or tablets? How secure are your devices?
Definitely something to ponder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't think about it.
Search, ponder, and pray.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. If you know, you know. Today we're going to talk about why in today's world, device security isn't just optional, it's essential. So why don't you tell me why you think it's essential?
Well, I think it's essential because of that topic or that statement you made at the beginning, how much of your personal data is actually on your devices.
Probably.
And how much of other people's personal data is on your devices.
Oh, that's a good question.
Think about your contacts.
Oh.
You have name, address, phone number. You may have birth date.
Email
address.
Yeah.
Yeah. Social media.
Address.
Physical address, phone number, phone numbers, social media. It's a treasure trove.
Work address.
Yeah. Tons of stuff. Emergency addresses, emergency contacts. So that's all just in your contacts.
Yikes.
Now think about what's on your desktop itself. Your tax returns, medical records, your prescriptions, your kids' birthdays, your kids' stuff, pictures of your kids, things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of critical data that people don't think about. No, they don't have anything they want to steal. Oh, you got a heck of a lot of stuff they want to steal. So
why should I care? Why should I care? If you're a Bluey fan. Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
I have a few, or actually several, priorities to discuss on the topic. Number one, access control. So first, you need to secure your device, meaning strong passwords and biometrics like fingerprints. We don't recommend facial.
Faces.
Why?
It's easy to copy. I can take a picture of you, and if it's got facial rec, if it's good enough, I can,
Yeah, that's creepy. Ugh, that's creepy.
There's lots of stories out there about that happening, like overseas. Like there was an article I read about a reporter that was in the country that has secret police, and they tried to turn his phone around and point it at his face to get it to unlock. There's stories going around about those people that go to Vegas and perhaps partake of paid company of women, making them pass out, or people passing out and then pointing their phone at them and while they're sleeping and wiping out bank accounts, doing all kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's the way to do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do facial recognition.
Yeah. No.
Number 2, data protection, keeping information safe. Encrypt your data, whether it's on your device or being sent across the internet. If your device is stolen, encryption can be the difference between safety and disaster. Because, if you do have all of this stuff, I can't count how many times I've left my freaking phone somewhere.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't locked, someone could just get right into it. They can get your bank account stuff if you do that, which I don't do that.
No.
I don't have anything like that on my phone.
No. No.
Some people do.
Yep.
And that's fine.
Some people do everything on their phone.
They do. That's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
A lot of people live off of their phone, and it's because it's so convenient.
Yep.
Especially like just regular people at home, you know, just trying to live their life, get through the day, get through all of the appointments and schedule whatever they've got going on during the day. That it's, if they can have it with them and be like, oh shoot, I can just take care of it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's so convenient.
100%. Yeah.
But that's also really scary. So encrypt it so people can't just take it.
Yes.
3, regular updates.
Yes.
So patch the holes.
Yes.
Patch the holes.
Yes.
Outdated software is like an open window. So regularly updating your operating systems and apps keeps your device protected. Number 4, anti-malware or endpoint security. Make sure you're utilizing services that protect against viruses, ransomware, and spyware. These software services help detect and block malicious activity. What are some programs people at home or even businesses could use?
For anti-malware?
Yeah.
I always think Bitdefender, Norton's good. Norton's all right. Norton's fine. McAfee. Bitdefender is my favorite. Avast is good. If you've got a Mac, I don't know if they do PCs or not. But I mean, there's lots of good programs out there. And then you get like CrowdStrike out there, which is like your enterprise grade stuff. And, there's a lot of AI driven ones out there. Bitdefender is AI driven. You need to get it on your phone too, not just on your PC or your laptop or whatever. It needs to be on your phone too. You need to have those checks on your phone.
All right. Number 5, physical security. So all these other things we talked about before are important. Like making sure you're encrypted and all of that stuff, physical security. Old school security still has a place. So just make sure that you're being aware of where you're putting things or where you're keeping things.
Yes.
Because it can make a difference.
Yeah.
6, remote management. Be ready for the worst.
Yes.
That's positive.
Yeah.
If a device goes missing, being able to remotely lock it, for example.
Or wipe it. Or brick it.
Wipe it. Yep. It can save you from dealing with a whole mess.
Yep.
Just a nightmare that you don't have to deal with. It should be standard for businesses.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, even on BYOB devices, you should have some kind of control.
Yeah, which I believe that's in our BYOB policy.
I believe so.
Yeah. All right. Number 7, backups. Last line of defense.
Yes. Always.
Whether it's a ransomware attack or a hardware failure, regular backups ensure you can recover what matters most to you, in your family or your company or whatever you're dealing with. Also, maybe have more than one backup if you want.
Yeah. What I do is I have one device that backs up everything on Fridays, and I have another device that backs up everything on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I believe we covered on a previous episode.
Probably
something. Yeah, about a crane.
Yeah.
Literally destroy
a data center.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it's not paranoia, it's preparation.
Yes.
All I can think about is the song from Lion King. That's Scar.
Kuna Matata?
No, be prepared. The one that Scar sings. I'm not going to do it.
I haven't seen that movie in probably since it came out.
Well, too bad we couldn't just put up a little clip of it.
Maybe next time. We can get a licensing for Disney. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
We can afford it.
Billions of listeners. Yeah, that'll be fine. Easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the end of our topic for me. You want to move into our 10 questions?
Why don't we talk about those 10 questions that you came up with?
Great. All right. Yeah. Cool. Number 1, what is device security and why is it important?
Well, device security is, in the simplest way of saying secure your device, but really what it is taking whatever preventative measures you can to protect your data on that device. Right. But it's also simple things like not leaving your device somewhere, know where your laptop is, know where your phone is.
All right. What are some common threats that target personal or business devices?
Theft is always one from the physical side, but then there's phishing, smishing, quishing, vishing, all those kind of things. So the whole idea is to get access to your device. And go ahead and get access to your device, therefore access to your data.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
How can strong passwords and MFA improve device security?
Well, strong passwords will prevent people from getting into your device. And then MFA, if you've got MFA on your device, that's great. If you have MFA on at least on all your websites or all the applications you access, that's even more security. So,
okay.
And MFA, for those who don't know, is multi-factor authentication. You're using an SMS, you're using an authenticator, you're using a token, you're using whatever.
Nice. Good job. Thanks for explaining.
Just dropping some knowledge.
Yeah. What is encryption and how does it help protect your data on a device?
Well, I'm going to actually give you a textbook definition.
Great.
Encryption is the process of converting clear text data into an unreadable format called ciphertext. Encryption algorithms or ciphers are used to encode and decode the data. An encryption algorithm is a mathematical method for encoding data according to the specific set of rules and logic. So,
cool. I think I've heard of a podcast with that.
Yeah.
It's really? Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like my favorite podcast. You should look it up.
Yeah, definitely. No, but I went with the textbook because there's so many misnomers about encryption and figured I'd look it up. But that's in essence what it is. It's a bunch of mathematical formulas, algorithms that, and now you have different types of encryption, like post-quantum encryption, and you've got regular encryption, and, is it, whatever. So, yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I like that explanation.
Yeah.
All right. What steps can you take if your device is stolen?
Well, you can remotely lock it, right? Or remotely wipe it. I mean, depending what kind of tools you've got access to your device to do those sorts of things. In reality, most of the time you're getting your laptop stolen, it's going to find its way to a pawn shop.
Yeah.
So that's why you want encryption, because they're just going to look at it and go, it's encrypted. We're just going to wipe it.
Right.
They're not going to take the effort to do it. So.
All right. How does backing up your device help a security incident or attack?
Well, by backing up your device, you can if your device breaks, it's stolen, it's hacked, it's completely wiped. You can wipe the device, and even with ransomware, just wipe the device and then just replace your data.
It's just like served on a platter.
Exactly.
Why should physical security be considered a part of digital security?
Well, you got to protect. So in businesses, we want you to lock your server room. We want you to have, so nobody can not anybody can just wander in,
Right.
You don't want your cleaning crew, wiping down your servers and accidentally hitting the off button, that kind of stuff. So, and you also don't want people to be able to walk into USB in a server drive and, go from there. But, on a personal level, you just don't want to leave your stuff laying around, and you don't want, random people that have access to it. You just don't. So, because of all the data that we spoke about that you have on those devices.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. What are some simple habits or tools people can use on a daily basis to improve their device security?
Patch. Run your antivirus, run scans. Don't just have it on there. Have it actively running scans through the real-time scans. And then I do real-time scanning, and then I actually do a full deep scan of my device multiple times a day or multiple times a week.
Oh, I was like, whoa.
No, not
A
multiple times a
day?
day. Yeah,
Whoa.
no, multiple times a week.
I was like,
Yeah.
dang, dedication. Okay.
Yeah. No, that would be overkill. But, multiple times a week.
All right. Okay.
So
All right. I only had 10
was that
questions.
answer satisfactory to you?
Yeah,
Do you meet the Mars standards?
I'll allow it. Okay, so I did take a class. I just got a little bit from it.
Yes.
I know with my photographic memory, my retention is through the roof. But today,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's just a few. There was a little slide that someone showed, and it just said complexity, vulnerability, threat, and I just like those 3 steps, like the visual it gave me. I don't know. I guess I'm just a visual learner because these when they have their little slides, it helps a lot.
Yep.
And let's see. The next person went. They were a cybersecurity professional. He was a CISO, and so he just gave some NIST programmatic. Okay, this is the NIST approach.
Yep.
Identify, protect, detect, respond, recover.
Yep.
So I'm just going to read through them really quick because we've talked about them before, but whatever. Identify. So, and under that, he had scope. So what needs protecting? Criticality. So like an iPad versus like a control, the whole control system.
Mm-hmm.
Like which one is probably going to need more protection?
Right.
And risk. Determine how high the risk is of whatever your breach or whatever information you're trying to protect. And then he had stakeholders, which makes sense to me, but he didn't give an example for that.
Yeah, you got to have your stakeholders buy-in to be able to afford some of the controls and be able to set the controls. And then ideally, the business unit manager our stakeholders should be the one designing the controls. It never works out that way, but that's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
So
he did say something that I thought was, it was kind of just like, oh, that makes sense, like a switch. He said we should all talk the same language when it comes to these like policies and classification. So everyone needs to be speaking the same language in regards to these specific things. And I was like, hey, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Okay, next is protect. Multiple layers of defense. So like we'll limit the access, multiple controls on each layer. That would be like MFA, zero trust architecture.
Yes. CTN.
Yeah. And then physical security controls, which self-explanatory, I think.
Yeah.
Detect is the next one. Centralized logging, data analytics, baselining, and anomaly detection. Do you have anything to specify with any of those before we move on?
So baseline analytics would be a risk assessment, and then your anomaly detection would be your monitoring, logging and monitoring, and your vulnerability scanning. So yeah, I mean, it's critical to have those things in place.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guidelines out there that should be, your external should be scanned once a month. No, it should be ideally scanned every day continuously, but you can fudge around on that. And then, internally you want to make sure to scan once a month at least. But the other flip side of that is monitoring and logging. Logging will help you to be able to do your detective work if something happens, and monitoring just continual monitoring to see if there are anomalies that appear. And then alerting would be letting you know there's anomalies. So
yeah. Okay. Next is respond. So have a response process. He mentioned automated blocks.
So some antivirus software will automatically sandbox your device if something, if there's something detected that could be a threat, which basically is locking it off from the rest of the network.
Okay. Next is a response drill. Mm-hmm. So that'd be like an IR tabletop?
That would be like the IR tabletop should do, yeah.
And Next is partnerships. Make sure you build your team. And then communications. I know we've talked about all of these before, but we're just going to them again.
Yeah.
And between these and the next, he did say this that I thought this was another one that I liked a lot. In your approach to defense, he said they have to be right once. I have to be right all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that makes so much sense because for real, it's just a one time, and then they got you, and that sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was cool. And then the last one is recovery. DR, disaster recovery plan, business continuity, and stakeholder alignment.
Yes.
Anything?
One of the things that you really need to do and why you need your stakeholders engaged too is to determine what application needs to come up first.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So every business unit holder is going to have to say, well, everything's theirs is the most important, always the most important. In reality, what really is the most important system that has come up? It's not email, and it's not a ticketing system.
Okay.
Generally, your accounting functions should come up in the top three, and then your application should come up depending on what kind of systems you run. But it all depends on what risks. That's why you do the business impact analysis, and you go through and you say, all right, this is a list of my systems. What happens if this one goes down? What happens if this one goes down? What happens if this one goes down? And you go through that list, and then you help you determine what's the most important thing. But generally, every business unit stakeholder is going to assume that theirs is always the most important. So,
sure.
But,
They're going to fight their corner. That makes sense.
Yeah, because it's their own little empire.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, all
right. Well, that's all I've got.
That's it.
That's all.
We dropped enough knowledge for today.
Hopefully.
Well, we had fun.
For sure.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
You guys are welcome. That we waived the price of this podcast this time.
So lucky.
Yeah, this time.
Mm-hmm.
Never know. So keep checking, because someday, and maybe a fee.
Maybe. That's funny.
All right. On that note, thanks for listening.
For the day.
Yeah, and that's it. Where's the bar?